I remember a couple of years ago, a football fan asked me a question, and he said, I ain't gonna say my real name. I've said my real name already, but he said my real name, and he said, yo, whenever Manchester United lose, I get the impression that you have this devil may care attitude towards Manchester United losing a match. Like, what's up with that? Aren't you a Manchester United supporter? So when United lose a game, doesn't even bother you? I mean, you're a fan, it's supposed to bother you to some extent. Why aren't you having this emotionally unavailable attitude towards Manchester United losing? Again, a friend asked me this a couple of years ago, and I basically reminded him, because a long time friend of mine, I basically told him that I cut my emotional umbilical cord in 2014, if not 2015, in regard to Manchester United losing a game. Particularly when we had the better side, when we were the better side, at least on paper, and we didn't win. I told him, say, yo, because I'm getting old, of course, I'm maturing, whether it's emotionally and otherwise. But based on United losing the match, he said, yo, United losing, you seem to have this devil may care attitude. Don't you care that Manchester United is losing? Why aren't you showing emotions? Why aren't you showing frustrations? Why aren't you showing you that you care for your side? Why aren't you expressing yourself as if you... Because it's basically like, bro, if I didn't know any better, I would say you're like a neutral fan that just likes Manchester United. Like, you don't strike me as a Manchester United fan. And I basically told him that prior to 2014, I was a very emotional dude. Like, whenever Manchester United lost, I was very emotional. Like, I would do posts on Facebook, like cursing bad words, using profanity words, like, we can't believe the Manchester United lose. What kind of side this, man? Excuse my Jamaican vernacular. But that's the type of thing I was saying back then in 2014, prior to 2014. And it led to me it led to my parents taking away my gadgets, because my auntie snitched on me. She said, your son is cursing all these bad words about his side losing, and etc. etc. You should take away his phone, and etc. He's not supposed to be doing that. He's a well-adjusted boy. But right now, I'm mature. I've cut that emotional umbilical cord from Manchester United since 2015, and ever since Manchester United has been losing games since 2015, whether it was fairly or unfairly, it hasn't bothered me that much, because I'm not going to put myself in a state of depression, a space of where I'm suffering emotionally. Because the game of football, and again I'm going to get into the game a bit, but the game of football in its entirety is based on thrill, love, and passion and emotion. Okay, and you have certain fans that support a side from when they were smaller. They grow up in that actual village, and they support the village side, and they see that side going to a final. Again, this is not in the context of Manchester United or Villarreal. I'm talking about any side that you support when you were smaller in that particular village that side is based on. And you see that side going into a final, and your side lose that final, whether you were the better side on paper or not. That is going to bother you at some point. That's going to bother you. You might not want to admit it, but it's going to bother you at some point, because you've been supporting this side since we're growing here on your balls or sucking tits. And you see this side lose in the final. Me and my sister was watching the Manchester United final, which I'm going to get into a second. But losing a final is not easy for the losers. It's not easy, particularly if they have been a supporter of that club ever since they were small. So it's obvious and evident that they're going to express emotions that is them being brought to tears. Is me. And some fans are not going to take it lightly. Some of them are not going to take it slightly. Some of them are going to act out in violence. They're going to do antisocial behavior, because they cannot fathom the fact that their side has lost a final, or lost a game for that matter. So without getting lengthy, my thing is this. It doesn't faze me or bother me that much that Manchester United has lost a final. It doesn't. I live to see another day. It's not like if I don't watch a football game, I'm going to die. It's not like that. Manchester United lost to Villarreal in a Europa League Final, which is their first Europa League Final, by the way, or their European final to begin with. And in that game, I watched the game from the first inning to the 9th inning, from the first minute to the 120th minute. And in that game, when I saw the starting 11, I was like, okay, with this starting 11, we would be good enough to at least get a couple of goals and win the final, right? We were down in the first half by a mistake that was made by Lindelof. I don't know if you can hear my family. Lindelof is not one that is good enough to mark aerial threats. When it comes on to marking strikers, he's not good at marking strikers, and I've said that before. He's struggled with the physical prowess of Christian Benteke in the Premier League. And we have seen that at least on 4 occasions, if not 3 occasions. Ever since he's been at the club, he's been a defensive suspect. He's been a defensive insect to Manchester United. Yes, he can play the long balls over the top, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, what is his defensive ability like? That goal shouldn't have been seen the light of day, but it did. So we had to move away from that situation and go into a situation where we will at least equalize and then take the lead. In that game, and you guys have seen the game, Harry Maguire, of course, I didn't expect Harry Maguire to start or even play for that matter, but he was on the plane. He came with Sir Alex Ferguson as well. Sir Alex Ferguson, I think I saw a picture on Instagram where Sir Alex Ferguson was having a chat with Juan Mata, Matic, Bruno Fernandes, and I think another player. And I guess he was sharing his insight, his game, his experience, what it's like to win in a final. What's the final like? But see, you can share your final experience, what it's like to be in a final experience, with players that have never been in a final. So they're not going to know what it's like to be in a final. You can share your experience till the cows come home or till the fat lady sings, right? But if those players haven't been in the final, they are not going to know what context your experience is going to come from, because they haven't been in that context or in that experience. So anyway, in the first leg, in the first half, I should say, we were not confident in the first half. Let it be made known. And Rashford, from the first couple of minutes, Rashford is not looking that bright. He's not looking that bright. It's evident he's either suffering from an injury or he's just like, hell with football. It's the end of the football season, so I'm not going to put in a proper shift. Bruno Fernandes was made captain, but my man was trying to lock doors with his crosses, but those padlocks were not locked with any crosses because nobody was making contact on the balls in the boxes. Cavani had a couple chances. Cavani had a chance where he was trying to play this kind, humble, good Samaritan pass to Greenwood, because Greenwood is in the box, when he should have just built it one time. Did a Van Persie and just go for it with his left foot. Why are you trying to pass the ball into the box? But you're a striker. You're supposed to be selfish and believe that you're going to score in that situation. Why are you trying to pass it to Mason Greenwood? You're the more experienced out of the two. You should be taking a chance. The game overall in the first half, it wasn't what you would expect from a Manchester United side. But we haven't been Manchester United since 2012 or 2013. But in the first half, we had a couple chances, and I mentioned one with Cavani. Greenwood had a couple chances. Greenwood actually created a couple chances, and Edison Cavani, all he had to do was just make solid contact, and the goal would have scored. You have an old man that is like 50-year-old that is captain of Villarreal, excuse me, that is captain Abiol, and you're making man save the ball from the line. Villarreal is finished 7th place in La Liga. No, La Liga is not the best league or anything, which means that they're a poor side. They're an average side or a below average side. But when you have a tactically a manager that is gamed up, a manager that has information, a manager that knows what he's doing on the sideline of the football pitch, a manager that has tactics, a manager that knows what to do in certain situations, you can best bet that that average side is going to look like a above average side in terms of the football strategy on the pitch. As much as persons want to criticize and emphasize the bad names and bad claims on the name of Unai Emery, it is best to understand that Unai Emery is a decent manager, and Arsenal, at their expense, strengthened that claim. They actually sacked this dude to have some Spaniard who hasn't managed another side in his career. He hasn't gone elsewhere. He was a second fiddle. Pep Guardiola was like his overseer at Man City, and my man went to Arsenal and he hasn't lived up to the name or hasn't done as much as Unai Emery at Arsenal. But Unai Emery in Villarreal brought this side to the final. And I don't want to discount the efforts by the players, because the players put in the shift and they scored the goals. But when it comes down to the mastermind behind what went on the pitch, it's Unai Emery. It's Unai Emery. Villarreal in the second half kind of took their feet off the pedal a bit, and Manchester United got more space, and the gods of Manchester was looking on us and gave us a fluke goal which was based on poor defensive display by Villarreal, and Cavani equalized as a poacher's goal. But truth be told, on the pitch, the game was still average. The game didn't have any flavor. The game was meh. The game was blah. There was no... when Manchester United equalized, Manchester United started to pick up momentum. They started to pick up the pace. They were actually attacking so that they can put them side in front. So they wanted to keep the momentum. But truth be told, in that game, Manchester United was just very, very poor. In terms of individuals, Rashford was very poor. Scott McTominay, now this is what I'll say about Scott McTominay. And this is one of the reasons why I've done a few admonishment videos between last year and last year. As if that is 2 years. But I've done a few admonishments based on Man United fans, based on certain players, and I've basically said this. Not in all of my admonishment, but I've basically said this. Why are you trying to disrespect the person and not? Why are you trying to disrespect the player, the person? Why are you trying to throw destructive criticisms and destructive comments at a person? Why are you calling Scott McTominay Scott McToilet? Yeah, it's kind of funny, it's entertaining. But why are you trying to call Scott McTominay Scott McNugget and Scott McTonials and all those types of names? That's not his name. If you want to criticize a player, criticize the performance and not the person. Remove the sin from the sinner. Why are you criticizing the person? Criticize the player constructively. You might say, okay, Scott McTominay, you know that you're not the best of players. You know that. You know you're not the best of midfielders. Why are you playing this pass? Why are you doing this in the midfield? You don't have to criticize or personally insult the dude. And a lot of United fans have done that. They're like, why is this Scott McToilet? Why is this crappy, Scottish player in the starting level? Why is he in the starting level? That you could excuse. They might say, okay, Why is he in the starting 11? But you don't say Scott McToilet is in the starting 11. Don't insult the person on a personal level. Again, the person doesn't know you from a can of paint. He doesn't know you. He hasn't seen you before. So why are you criticizing him? You haven't had a one-on-one conversation with him. Criticize the player constructively, not destructively. You could say certain subjective criticism, and that is based on your perspective, and your perspective is not truth that is written in stone. So you giving your perspective on a certain player, you saying, well, I think that Scott McTominay is a good player, and another person might say Scott McTominay is not a not so good player. That is your subjective opinion. But what you cannot disparage or dismiss is that insults, you ain't going to get no insults. You're not going to get a green light based on insults on a certain player, no matter how poor the player is. Even when Fellaini was at Manchester United, I was not a person that was destructively criticizing Fellaini. Fellaini is the player who he is. He has limitations, a lot of limitations. But one thing I cannot say about Fellaini is that he gives his all. He always gives his all. This is me. But going back to the final, the game went to extra time. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm going to bring up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this. And I'm going to bring Paul Pogba into this, because I have to make this clear once and for all. If Paul Pogba, and I've heard a few, I'm not going to say their names, I've heard a few Manchester United fans say this, and I've been saying this for like a year now. This is my thing. If Paul Pogba stays at Manchester United after this performance, not his performance, but Manchester United's performance, given that they haven't won a trophy this season, he's not an ambitious person. And I've said that a few times. He's not an ambitious person. He's settling for low-hanging fruits. That is not really low. It's just an average hanging fruit. If you're very serious about your career, Paul Pogba, you're going to go to that to the manager and say, yo, we lost the final. We, Manchester United, lost the final. I was hoping to stay at Manchester United if we won the Europa League or at least won a trophy. But since we are going to be virgins based on trophies, I want to leave and get the hell out of here. I want to sign my lease and leave the premises and property of Manchester United. It's nothing against you. It's based on me. I'm in my prime years right now. I'm at like 27 or 28. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not getting any better. This is the prime time to leave so that I can win trophies. I've given you guys at least 5 years of my best years as a player. And no cigar came of it other than a Euro League in 2017, which I scored in the final, and a Capital One Cup and a Community Shield, which I wouldn't really deem as a trophy. I've given you at least 5 of my best years, and we haven't at least competed for the title in England. So given that I have not won a trophy this season, I would like to leave Manchester United. It's not you, it's me. It's not you, it's me. That is what Paul Pogba should do to the manager and say, yo, I just want to leave. It's not to disrespect you. I just don't want to disrespect my career where I can win trophies elsewhere and not stay here and suffer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be sacked. I was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. I was on the fence when people saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be beheaded, he should be burned at the stake, he should be fired, he should be sacked, and all of that. I was like, give this bridging time. Probably he can win a trophy this season. But with how things are today, bro, my man has to get sacked. If Manchester United keeps this guy in charge, just like Paul Pogba, if he stays after being trophyless this season, Manchester United has no ambition. They have no ambition if they're keeping this guy as manager for next season and beyond and beyond and beyond. Antonio Conte has left Inter Milan based on mutual consent today. Allegri has been available for like almost 2 years now. Sarri has been out of job, not that I want him at Manchester United, but as a manager, he's a free agent. Zidane is leaving Real Madrid. We have options to have a manager that's going to take us to a place of greatness. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yesterday in 1999, he scored that winning goal against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. And on that same day, fast forward to 20 years, at least 22 years, fast forward to 22 years, he's lost a Europa League final as Manchester United's manager. This is not a good game for Manchester United. This is not a good game for Manchester United. And my final thoughts is this. Paul Pogba should leave for his own good, not for the good of the club, for his own good. Because again, if he stays, he's disrespecting himself and disrespecting his career. He's in his prime years. He's wasted his prime years for Manchester United, thinking that a project was going to be built. They thinking he's signed for United to win the Premier League trophy. That was the dream he was sold. That's what he was told. And that dream hasn't come to fruition ever since. Yes, he's won a couple of trophies, but that's just average, bro. That's average. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to leave, needs to be sacked, by the way, because I've been giving this guy leeway, I've been giving him grace time, but that grace time has now served its time. He needs to leave the club. The club is not going anywhere with this guy at the wheel. He needs to just leave, bro. He needs to leave. He needs to be sacked, by the way. And we need a proper manager that has we need a manager that knows what he's doing, that leads United to the forefront of greatness, to success, so that we can be at our best. David De Gea in that game, I'm wrapping up right now. David De Gea in that game, person was saying, I don't want to see David De Gea taking saving penalties, because I guess based on penalties, David De Gea is not the best in terms of saving penalties. I guess that's one of his main weaknesses. But in that penalty shootout, that's probably the worst penalty shootout I've ever seen. How can 11 players in a final that's vital to win a trophy take penalties simultaneously? Usually, the penalty count in terms of outside winning would be 6-5 or 7-5 or 7-6 or something like that. 11-10. Now, yes, those penalties that were taken were clinical, but would you say it's based on the person's practicing penalties, or it's bad goalkeeping, or both some way? But anyway, David De Gea, if this dude is going to get it tonight now. He's going to get it tonight now. He's going to get scapegoated for the rest of... He's going to get scapegoated because even before he took that penalty, in the penalty shootout itself, he was not saving any penalty. You know, he had a few that came off him, but there was no... I don't know if he spit in his arms or he just put his hands in hot slithery butter, but he could not save a ball. He was butter-fingered. He could not save a penalty. As Rance would say, because I was listening to Rance live stream and I was watching the game. My man can't even save a file on his memory card. He can't. He couldn't save an old lady walking across the street. If that was the case. But when my man was taking the penalty, I knew it was going to miss. I knew it. He didn't have the aura, the disposition, the demeanor, as if, hey, I'm going to take this penalty and I'm going to score this penalty. That's not what his demeanor was shouting to me. That's not what his demeanor was saying to me. His demeanor to me was like, man, I didn't really practice scoring penalties. I did some decent practices of saving penalties, but I was poor. But since that I'm in this position to make sure that Manchester United doesn't lose the final, I guess I have to do what is vital to doing what Manchester United does, that's winning trophies, and score the penalty. But my man didn't score the penalty. He just did it casually, like, okay, it's just one of them days, and just kick it. And Villarreal, in the first time of all time, they they have won a European trophy. Again, God was looking over on the yellow side of Villarreal because this is a side that finished 7th place in Spain, and again, I've said that before. But if you're allowing this side of quality to win against you, what does that say about the manager himself of Manchester United, or for any side for that matter? Leave your comments down below on the game, because again, I'm not frustrated, I'm not mad. I would say God bless Manchester United's soul. I would say Manchester United, this is my thoughts. Manchester United needs to sell Paul Pogba. He needs to leave Manchester United. And I've said this, I've been saying this for like 11 or 12 months. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as of today, I've made up my mind that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be sacked. And again, this is not nothing against you, bro, but as the saying goes, business is business. Business is business. Don't take it personally. You're not a good manager, bro. You need to move on. Third point. We need a good manager. We need a good manager. This was a chance. Of course, we shouldn't have been in the Europa League to begin with. This is a poor season. We got second place, but we shouldn't have been in second place in the first place. We should have been in first place. Man City was in 7th, if not 8th place in December, if not November. And they have won the Premier League. Liverpool was on top of the league, and they dropped to 8th place, and they're now in 3rd place. We were on top of the league, leading by at least 8 points, and we lost to Sheffield United, and we dropped points to other sides, and we're finished in 2nd place. Person wants to say, well, I think this is a good season because we're in a Europa League Final and we got 2nd place. I think it's a good season. No, it's not, because again, we shouldn't be in the Europa League to begin with. We were in the Champions League and we got knocked out, so we got relegated to the Europa League. Secondly, we were in a position. We didn't even start the season on the best foot. We lost at home to Crystal Palace. At home. We shouldn't even be losing to Crystal Palace, let alone at home. So this is not a good season. Bruno Fernandes was inconsolable after all of that. Rashford was looking sad. The players should have been disappointed. Now, there are some persons, and my father was saying this. He was saying, because the players got their medals because they lost the final. And my father was saying, man, I think that's disrespectful that they took off their medal. I think they should have kept on their medal because, you know, it shows a level of respect to the opposition. You're showing that, because basically, it's saying that if you take off your medal, the 2nd place medal, you're saying that, man, I'm good enough to be beating these Willows. Why are we losing to these Willow Minnows? Why are we losing to these Minnows, bro? We should have won. Yeah, like a lot of United players, when they got their second place medal, they took off the medal. Now, this could be a controversial topic, and again, I don't want this to be a lengthy video podcast. Persons might say, well, they just have a winner's mentality. They don't want to take 2nd place because 2nd place is not 1st place, and 2nd place has no quality like 1st place, and we shouldn't have been in the 2nd place in the 1st place, and we don't want to settle for 2nd place. That could be a talking point. That could be an argument. On the flip side, some persons might say, well, I think that's just pure arrogance. I think it's just pure ignorance to just be taking off your 2nd place medal and saying, man, I'm not deserving of this. I'm not deserving of this. We should have beaten these Minnows. We should have beaten these Willow Minnows in the final. Why are we losing to these Willow Minnows in the final? Because their side was not good enough. That's why I lost the final. Some person might be saying, why Bruno Fernandes was inconsolable like that. Bro, the man is becoming of age. He's like 26 right now. Bruno Fernandes has not won a significant trophy in his career. He's won the Portuguese league, but that is not significant. That's not something to blow your horn about. Ain't nobody know about the Portuguese Cup. If you retire on one cup or two cups or whatever cups you won in Portugal, people go say, I mean, your career wasn't abysmal, but it's not something to be proud about. So Bruno Fernandes saw this as an opportunity to not only raise a trophy, but to be happy to win a significant trophy. And again, the Europa League is not a significant trophy, but given where Bruno Fernandes is in terms of his trophies being won, it is something to start off with. And it could be a snowball effect that could lead him to different and more significant trophies. This is a wake-up call for Manchester United. This is a wake-up call for Manchester United. We shouldn't be losing. No disrespect to Villarreal. No disrespect to Villarreal. No disrespect. Hey, you guys bled your hearts out in yellow. You guys won that final. You guys put your heart to it. I know how hard you guys worked out. You put a lot of effort into it. So I'm not disparaging or dismissing your effort. But I'm saying based on quality, you guys shouldn't have won the final. Period. But because you have a good manager, you have a good gaffer, you guys have a good coach, you guys have won. You're in a position of having your Europa League triumph. But Manchester United, based on paper, we should have done better. I'll be doing a match, not a match reaction, because the season is basically finished for Manchester United. So I'm going to, on Sunday, I'll be doing a season review of Manchester United in the Premier League, in the Champions League, and the Euro League. So I'm going to be doing everything based on Manchester United during this season that has finished today. Stick out for that video, like and subscribe to the channel, and of course leave your comments down below on the final itself, the players that were poor you think we should have done better. So I'm going to ask you guys that because you guys know that already. But what do you think we should have done better? If there are players that needs to be sold, comments down below, and I'll show you guys in the next video podcast. Come on Sunday. Peace.